All right, we're getting back on this Tahoe, trying to get this done tonight, and then in the shop for the wagon some more. So we got this piece out, fixing to add a new one in, and then connect all the stuff back, and then put everything back together, and then we should be ready to charge the AC, which will happen sometime here shortly. So we can get that back together. This was actually froze pretty bad. As you can see, there's a bunch of gunk in there. I don't know that that's ever been changed. It's still AC Delco part. We are going to put new seals on this piece coming out, and then connect all this stuff back together like I mentioned, and then put the front grille back on and kind of button her up. So the only thing we will have to do is this wiring is different than the actual plug itself that came on there, but no big deal. We got to fix an open circuit anyway. As you can see right there, that's bare wires. We don't like that, so fixing that anyway, no big deal, and we'll keep moving on. All right, we have the AC wired up correctly now, and then we have everything connected back with new parts. The only thing left to do is put this shroud back on, a screw over there to hold that in tight, and then plastics, and pretty much get all these leaves out from under the underhood, and then under here is done. We still got to put the grill back together and then charge it up, see if the AC works, and if it does, we are done. So it's been some time, but finally getting back on this thing and getting it done, and hopefully getting this car out of here soon so I can make room for other projects and other things. So the front grill is back on. We got to put the screws in it, but other than that, it's in. He did have a turn signal that was out. I can't remember which one. And of course, I left the door open, so the battery is dead. We got to charge it. Before we put the grill back on, I'm going to make sure we don't need to take it off again. So we'll get that squared away. There's a hoot owl in the background now, so it tells me I should probably get some sleep. But we got still more work to do, but that's back on. Everything under here is back together with the exception of the air cleaner, and we'll put that on when we get done here shortly. But she's wrapping up. All right, as you can see, we are taking this thing on a test drive. This is the final voyage, I guess you could say, for the Yukon. The guy wants to do a lift and some tires and some other stuff that I could do, but I'm gonna leave it to somebody that does that, for a living. So we're gonna pass that off to them. They're gonna charge the AC, as my machine would actually not hook up to it. Surprise, surprise. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any at all. But anyway, it is raining, so I am basically taking this thing on its maiden voyage to who's going to do the work. So as you can see, we're stopped now. So hope y'all enjoyed it. I know it's been drawn out. I've been meaning to get this done for a little while. All right, she's all dropped off to get her lift and tires. These Maypops are probably not going to make it very long. They're very cracked. I didn't even bother getting the DOT date code because they are very old, but they're going to charge the AC, lift it, put wheels and tires on it like the customer wants. So I am done with what I am doing for it. So we've got it back running and driving like we were supposed to. So all right, we are back burning some midnight oil. This is the 72 Gran Torino Sport that I have. It is pretty rusted, like rusted beyond belief. Torque boxes are toast, floors are toast. There's really not many good parts on here, but there is a good tack dash. I've got an offer from somebody to buy it, so I'm going to start parting this car. So if anybody needs any parts, I will show you a walk around of it and let me know. I will try to get everything out of this car before it goes off to the big hauler in the sky. The quarters are good, around the glass is good, around the trunk's good. Again, just the underside's cooked. So if you need anything, let me know. We're gonna get this dash out of here and get it boxed up and shipped out, hopefully here very shortly, as long as all these screws cooperate. All right, that took a little bit longer, but I was trying to go slow because this plastic is a little bit brittle. The gauge face came out almost perfect. There's one little tab broke down here that was already broke before I even messed with it. The AC piece that goes in the corner right there came out perfectly. We got all our hardware and stuff right here to send to the customer. And the gauge face came out about as good as I can get it. This crack was already existing. They knew about that. This tab was already broken, which somebody may have swapped this cluster in. And then this corner was already broken. But I have the pieces in here for them to fix that with some epoxy probably. So shouldn't be a big deal. But they're happy with it. I'm happy with it. I can live with what I'm shipping them to, you know, all that stuff. I can live with it. So we're gonna get these shipped out tomorrow, and then we're about to take a look and see what some trim pieces my buddy Alex needs. So we're gonna take a look at that, see if we can get those off and just continue stripping this thing off. We got the two rear pieces of trim and the front nose. And the front nose, the only damage is a little bit right there in the front corner, and it can be fixed up. We'll see. I'm gonna see if Alex wants this. There's actually one little gouge right there in that I just now saw once I put light on it too. So we will see what he would like to do. All right, I kind of stopped doing side work for people. I just got annoyed with people's attitudes towards stuff. I would try to, you know, help people out when I can, and it started to burn me, and I got kind of burnt out on working on cars in general, and I kind of had a little hiatus sometime last year. That being said, I have started doing a few side jobs for people, but I'm kind of choosing what I want to do. So this is one of them. I'm going to kind of show y'all. It's really not worth doing a whole lot of videoing on, but I will probably just go into kind of the stuff in the background that I do sometimes. So if you don't see anything on like the C10 or the wagon, or it's fixing to be a lot of Chevelle content. I know y'all haven't seen any of that lately. I've been putting it off because every time I touch that car, 5 more things come up wrong on it. That's a whole nother story. That's another story for another day, another video. But anyway, let's get into it. This is a quick little job. Long story short, guys moving out of town quickly. Needs the car to be able to run to get out of town and make it to Tennessee from Alabama. It needs motor mounts, and I'll show you why in just a sec. Drastically needs motor mounts. Not a bad job. I typically tell people to bring stuff to my house, but this is kind of one of those things I didn't want him to drive it after looking at it real quick. So let's get into it. All right, so this is an 88 D150 318. The motor mounts are completely shot, like there's nothing left of them. I came and looked at this a little while ago, and we're just now getting back to it. So let me show you what I'm talking about when there's nothing left of them. When I say there's nothing left of them, I mean there's supposed to be rubber between these two. I still got to get the bottom one off. It's just spinning, but not a big deal. We'll get it. But there's supposed to be rubber between those, and it's not supposed to come apart. So this thing is actually sitting pretty much on the frame right there. And as you can see, sort of down there. And it was actually hitting the frame so hard with this power steering pulley, it actually nicked the frame pretty good. So we're gonna get this fixed up in a new power steering belt. It was chewing up the power steering belt. We're gonna get this fixed up real quick and then move on. I've got a couple more projects of stuff I'm supposed to be working on, so we will try to get these knocked out and go from there. Continuing on with some of the side work that I've been doing, that Dodge, I basically had a deal with this guy, worked out for the Ford and the other short bed Ford, and then selling this for a friend of mine. So we have a few extra trucks here. I still haven't bought anything yet for the year. I'm gonna hold on to that for as long as I can, just see what happens and get some of this stuff going. Hopefully I can get the C10 and this AMC going, and then maybe finish stripping out that Gran Torino, get it out of here, and maybe the Bel Air will sell as well. I can't remember if I showed y'all, but we have a short bed cab, which is not bad. It's up for whatever's going on up here. It looks like a little Bondo. Maybe at some point it gotten up in there. Well, actually no, that's straight up rust. So cab is not worth much probably, but maybe with some parts it is. Few trim pieces. The lower cab actually looks to be in pretty good shape. It's just that upper part and the sides right here, but somebody may need a frame. Yeah, I don't know. The roof is pretty bad, but for somebody that needs the cow or some of the other parts, maybe not bad. We have this Ranger. We'll get the official year. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really look these over. I had just enough time to get the side work done that I was doing for the guy and get the deal hammered down. Looks like we have a 73. Yeah, 73. Looks like they moved the shifter to the floor. It has a newer radio in it, and looks like we got some door panels and some miscellaneous parts to be worked on. Let's see what's under the hood. So after digging through all the cab parts, there's some headers here. Looks like the center caps for these older, well, newer F-150 wheels are here. Those are like the 80s, 90s model. Door panels, looks like he has already swapped it probably under the hood to a 4-barrel manifold and carb. I found the 2-barrel stuff sitting over there, which really isn't much for street value. There's a fuel sending unit, so I'm guessing that's no good, just judging by it's here. Either he's put a starter on or he hasn't yet. Looks like he hasn't yet because that's new. So there's a new starter there too. So this truck has a lot of potential, depending on what's wrong with it, to run. It always makes me a little nervous when people get that many parts and just have them sitting there. Let's pop the hood. Run 3 years ago, but we all know how that goes. I'm gonna probably clean all these leaves out of here real quick and then put a hot battery on it, see if it'll just spin over. All the fluids look good. I've already checked those under the hood, so it looks like yeah, I didn't even pay attention to the cab to see that this was an AC truck. The compressor would go right there if it had one, but it's not on there. I'm guessing somebody took that off as it didn't work probably back in the day. But everything else is still under the hood. The condenser and all that stuff, evaporator cores, all there. So yeah, we're gonna get this power steering, power brake truck also. So it's got all the bells and whistles that could be anyway. So yeah, let's pop a hot battery on it after we clean this up and see what happens. We got under hood cleaned out for the most part. Did find a crack in that AC box. It's something that could be fixed or epoxied or got new, but not a big deal. Everything's cleaned out around the carb. We're gonna put this back on to keep trash out of the carb any more than it's already got in there. And we will probably throw a battery on it in just a sec. We're gonna look at that 64 because I'm kind of on low time today. It's so cold. can't be out here long in this stuff. Sun's out, so the only reason I'm able to work on it right now. It's still in the 30s, unfortunately, but this is the first day we've had with no rain, so we are going to work on, look at the 64 next, and then we'll probably grab a battery for each, see if they pop over. I also just actually looked in the actual bed of this thing and realized that's the gas tank for the 64 right there, same color and everything. So that can go over there. These lights can get trashed. I don't know if that fluid's any good. We'll actually probably save that fluid for freeing up cylinders. There's no way that battery's good, so I'll put that in my scrap pile, and we will take a look and see what's left of this bed later once we clean out the bed. We're gonna probably flip this truck around and then get all those leaves out if somebody doesn't have interest in it before then. But overall, she seems to be all here with some extra parts, so I bet she'll run. All right, this is the 64 truck. We're gonna blow all this leaves and stuff off the top real quick before we open the hood and see what's under it. I know it's an inline 6, I just don't know beyond that. I didn't get a chance to really look at it great to know that I wanted it. This body seems super solid. Lower fenders, the door corners and the cab corners need a little bit right there, but all in all, it looks to be pretty solid. With it not having a bed on it, you can see a little bit better. But it has this little wooden flatbed, which is also kind of cool. Just something different. There's a few, no, it looks like that, yeah, that cab corner right there is ate up a little bit. Looks like the gas tank hole was taped up to remove it. Wow, that seat's actually in pretty good shape. Definitely usable. I would dye the middle section a different color than this little bronze, but looks like the shifter is in the floor. It looks like an auto in the floor. Somebody cut, and then there is another fuel tank in here, so maybe that other one was bad and they just never completed putting this one in. I don't know. We'll look under the hood and see what it looks like. But this interior doesn't look bad. Usually they're rotting out in these footwells. There's just a little bit up here, which is normal. Look at the other side while I'm looking at floors. Yeah. That actually looks really solid. Either it's been done before or the paint just kind of got ate off. But that's the carb hat right there. Looks like we got some other parts over there. So we're gonna go through this truck and figure out what it looks like. There's the door panel that's off right here. So there's some parts I didn't see back there. Let's see what we got. New battery cables and stuff. We're gonna go through this truck real quick and let's pop the hood after we blow it out and see what it looks like. Then we're gonna move on, see if the other truck spins over and go from there. We have the gas tank moved over there to the correct truck. This battery doesn't appear to be super old. We're gonna charge it and see if it'll do anything. We'll throw it on the charger. I'm gonna snatch the battery out of the C10 for now, just to check these two trucks over, and we'll move on and see what happens. Jump box on. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing I know where the starter's there. All right, it spun a little bit. Guessing my battery may be completely needing charge. Well, that's what I need to hear for now, and that makes sense why this starter is down here. So we're gonna throw the battery in the 64. We're kind of limited on time today. We're gonna throw the battery in the 64 today and see if it'll spin over. At least I know it will spin a little bit. I got it to barely kind of bump, but that's good. That means it's not locked up. So we're gonna grab this battery out, switch it over to 64, get this other old battery out of 64, and keep rocking and rolling. Battery and jump box are on. And I just looked down and realized that the, well, I knew the hoses weren't on it, obviously, because it's a new radiator, but I realized the thermostat outlet's not there. And there's a good bit of corrosion in that jacket. Not saying it can't be used, but we're gonna try to bump it real quick with all that hooked up and see what happens. All right, I'm getting nothing. Let me make sure it's in neutral or park. Move this seat out of the way. All right, I am getting nothing. Truck is clearly in park. I'll move the seat back to make sure. And nothing on the switch. Doesn't mean it's not good or bad. Well, that belt's not on there. I was gonna try to hook it up, but I'd be willing to bet, yeah, some stuff's unplugged. I see a few things already that are not plugged up. And it wouldn't shock me if this was bad or corroded. Or these cables are definitely corroded. You can see how junky that is. So it would not shock me if something in this wiring or box or any of this stuff was not corroded and bad. Yeah, I see a open circuit right there. And that looks brittle. Not sure what that goes to. Looks like probably a sensor back here. But it doesn't give me a whole lot of good feelings about getting it popped over. But she might spin by hand. We'll have to put a socket on it and tell. I think the next thing I'm going to tackle is getting some of this spare trash out of here. Just stuff that's been sitting, we're going to haul off. Spare scrap metal. I'll keep that hood and probably those fenders just for scrap metal and the shapes. But everything else is probably going to get tossed, trashed. Get this cleaned up. There's too many branches actually over my shop because I keep hearing stuff knocking. So we'll get that cleaned up and all these branches cleaned up and this area cleaned up right here. At some point I'm going to probably get another covering in this corner. Haven't got there yet, but at some point that's my plan. I got to be careful of this power pole obviously right here, but that is my plan. So we'll clean this up, get this cleaned up and get it stuff scrapped out. Tires put up. I always try to save these tires. That's a 15. These are all 15s. Even though they're trailer tires, they'll hold air at least, from what I know. So I like to save stuff, but at the same time, I also hate keeping stuff around that's not helping out any. So we'll probably try to clean this area up and get this stuff gone. And now that the Yukon is gone, we can clean up out here. I've got way too many fuel cans that just I don't use. Those small ones are probably gonna get donated somewhere. I'm gonna clean this corner up. Part my tractor usually goes right here, just to keep it out of the sun as much as possible, although it doesn't really, do any good because it's already kind of faded. But we're gonna probably park this back over here. We're gonna clean up that corner, and maybe tomorrow we can get some more work done. I know I've got a little property work to do as well. Maybe it'll be just warm enough I can get underneath this truck and get the last brake hose done and try to get something sorted with the brakes. I'm ready to have this thing back on the road. Cars and Coffee is next weekend. I doubt I'm gonna have it ready by then, but I'm shooting for the next Tuesday night taillights, which is in February, which is on the 4th. We've also got to finish stripping this car. I'm just tired of looking at it. I've got several parts sold off of it already, so my plan is to try to get that gone and be done with it, maybe in the next week or two as well. One, it's taking up room. I hate scrapping stuff, but we'll probably, I've got a guy wanting the rear quarter and a couple things, so it'll get pretty much down to nothing by the time I need it. So that's the plan. And then get the C10 is for sale, AMC's for sale. Pretty much everything down here is for sale except for that gray Ford that's sticking nose out. That one's already sold. So if y'all need something, want something, let me know. I know this one's ugly as sin with it being pink and yellow, but it's actually in pretty good shape. So y'all let me know. All right, we're officially getting no power. I've moved a few things around, tried. There is a cable over there, so I'm assuming that's what that's for. Is that cable's probably so corroded. This switch is also aftermarket because usually that washer wouldn't be there. They could have wired something wrong with that. Somebody's put some gauges in here. There's a lot of stuff that could be, the problem here. There's also wiring that's been hacked into from where they moved the shifter in the floor. So there's no telling. We're probably just going to move on and sell it as is, unless it's sitting here long enough, and then we'll get to it eventually to get it running and figure out if it runs. Get it back on the road or get it back in the hands of somebody that wants to get it on the road. For now, we're going to try to get back on the C10. That's probably all my time for today. This Saturday, usually Saturday I don't have much time, if any. I just wanted to come check these out because I just got them, but it was also freezing rain. So we didn't have any time to look at them besides just surface and out through the car as it was in the 30s. I know some of you are going to laugh about 30s, but it's Alabama. We don't get that much weather here like that. It dips in the 30s just randomly, but it doesn't freeze or anything like that typically. So we just shut down as a state. I just prefer to sit at my house and not be cold. I'm sure I could get more work done if I didn't, but I just don't like being cold. So we're gonna put this battery back in the C10, put this up, and call it a day on these two trucks. We know a little bit more about them, so we can kind of judge what they're worth now, and also how to, you know, market those. So that's going to be it. And yeah, thanks for tuning along. I figured I'd show y'all just the random stuff I do, not just, you know, working on the C10 or the wagon or something else that I've got to do. There's always other stuff to be done, and I guess I don't really do a good job of showing y'all that. So stuff does take up a lot of time if you let it. 1 hour can go by in the blink of an eye. It's probably been about that since I started looking at these two trucks and cleaning them out. So again, not a bad thing. It is what it is, but just wanted to show y'all sometimes it takes more time than you think to look over these vehicles and try to work on them. So thanks for staying tuned. We'll see y'all in the next video.